Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is mcpeachpies and this is episode 32 of the Existence Community Podcast. I am joined today by an array of community members featuring ACG1000.
Hello.
Banana Bubble, also known as Kitkat.
Hello.
iGalaxy.
Hello.
ItsPurpleJay.
Hello.
Thank you, Jay. Dr. Little and Telx. How are we all doing? So we've got a lot to talk about this podcast. We've just had...
What?
Minecraft Live was literally yesterday. We're recording this as soon as we all could get together, straight after it, because there has been... Is it fair to say one of the biggest Minecraft, update announcements, probably, since?
It definitely feels huge. I think it's bigger than the Nether update.
I think it has the potential to be the biggest update yet, honestly.
Yeah.
Bigger than Another, bigger than Ocean, bigger than 1.8.
Bigger than bees?
Bro.
Bees were pretty big. You can't top bees.
Can't top bees. Oh, can't top the what was it called? The Frostburn update?
Oh, that one. 1.10, my favorite.
1.10, love it. But yes, so for those of you who aren't aware, recently we had Minecraft Live, also known as Minecon, also known as Minecon Live, also known as Minecraft Festival Live.
Also known as Minecon Earth.
Oh, goodness me. Oh, yeah, how could we forget about that? So yes, the now named Minecraft Live event happened just the other day, and it brought a huge array of news and updates for... Is it Minecraft 1.17? Is that correct?
Yes. 1.17, yeah.
So
Yes.
it is the next update. And I believe they announced it was coming summer 2021, which is about July, give or take.
Didn't they just say sometime 2021?
I'm not
It's
sure.
Summer
summer.
2021.
They just say it's summer 2021.
Oh, okay.
And so the update is primarily focusing on, I believe they're calling it the Caves and Cliffs update. So it's the cave update, which has been requested for probably years now, on all honesty. I remember the cave update has been something people have been wanting for more or less as long as I've been playing Minecraft. It seems like one of the biggest kind of community callings within the Minecraft community. And
it's one of the top voted posts on the feedback website too.
Oh wow! So yeah, they've finally done it, and I think it possibly caught everyone off guard, because I know there was a lot of talk, with the last Minecraft Live event. We had the mountains and all that kind of... Was it mountains was announced and goats and all that kind of stuff?
It was mountains was the biome vote, and we voted on what biome we wanted to be updated, and along with that came a new mob. So we voted for mountains last year, and along with that came the goats, which we saw a glimpse of during this year's event.
Which we'll get to in a moment. But I think what we'll do is we've got a nice little list here of kind of everything from Minecraft Live that iGalaxy has kindly put together, as well as kind of a series of different posts on Reddit and such. But I think if we just kind of run through there and discuss kind of all the new things that have been added, that way we can kind of get an idea of what to expect for Minecraft 1.17.
Yeah, the list I put together is kind of in order of what we saw throughout the different segments where they revealed new stuff.
Cool. So I guess we'll start with kind of, the main thing, or one of the main things about the update, the cave aspect. So firstly, there's improved cave generation. Galaxy, would you like to run us through the cave generation features?
Yeah, essentially, first of all, old caves, like the caves we have now that are underneath us at this very moment, we'll still see those, but a lot of new features have been added to caves. We'll see a lot of variation in cave sizes. We'll see a lot bigger caves. We'll see local water levels in caves, which basically allows for, underwater lakes and, those pouring into other caves, into new water areas. And, there's we'll see pillars and a bunch of different stuff that we don't already see in caves. And also there are some new biomes that are coming to caves.
Because was it during 1.16 or earlier when they added vertical biome kind of levels?
Yeah, I think it was in 1.16 because they had to do it for the nether biomes. Or no, wait, was it in 1.15?
I think they added it in 1.15, I believe,
and then they
implemented it in 1.16. Yeah.
So it's existed since
right.
1.15.
Because I remember when I heard, it must have been during a snapshot when they added vertical biome, like layering, everyone kind of theorized it was to do with like the sky dimension, like the Aether. Because that was about the same time as well, I think, that they hired, I can't think what his name, the developer of the Aether mod.
King B Dogs, I think.
Yep. Wasn't he actually he was in Minecraft Live? Like he was one of the presenters?
Yep. Yeah, he was one of the presenters
in the first part of the presentation.
Yeah, because I remember when that came out in the 1.15 snapshots, I think a lot of people, well, at least I did, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of theorized that that's kind of the direction they were heading, especially when they hired him as well. But yeah. It kind of makes sense now that when you kind of put those puzzle pieces together, it all lines up to the cave update, especially when we'll get to later points where it's got like some of the new kind of generation things, and also especially the mobs, I think, reflect the Aether mod quite accurately with the developer there.
Yeah, and they've been working on this update for a long time, because we saw some decently polished things in the Minecraft Live presentation. But so it's probably he started working on stuff along with the other new people that were hired right as they got hired. Or they might have been in contact before that, but I think they've been working on this for a while.
Yeah. Did anyone else watch it live? Like,
I did.
I watched.
Yeah, there are a few of us in Discord.
I was reacting in Discord. Yeah, it was pretty exciting. I love doing that each year.
Because I woke up in the morning at like 8 or 7, wherever it was. Because Minecraft Live for me was at 5 in the morning. And I wasn't too keen on getting up for it. One thing I wanted to do was do like a live watch through, like actually stream it. But I wasn't too sure how it was going to go. And also it was like 5 in the morning for me, so it wasn't something I was too keen to do, especially considering I actually had work as well.
It was only 9 a.m. for me, so I was fine waking up.
They do it at an odd
right
time.
As daylight saving started for me, so I lost an hour too.
Oh, very nice.
Out of town, so.
Oh yeah, Telx, you were out in the wild.
Yes, I was. Very good time.
Oh jeez, it's so cool everything they've added. What else have we got there, Galaxy, in terms of generation, or is that kind of the main gist of it?
That's what the generation changes, but there's also like new biomes and structures as well. So let's get into the biomes. We've got the dripstone caves and the lush caves. They actually started with the lush caves first in the presentation. It's got like a lot of new vegetation blocks, like these new foods called, I'm assuming they're foods, glowberries, which grow on their own vine. Glowberries, berries.
Beans.
So we've got more berries, of course, in addition to sweet berries. But I think this is the first like harvestable thing that we've seen growing on vines. It's pretty interesting.
Because is that what that was? Because I was trying to figure it out. So I'm assuming, are they adding a new type of vine as well?
It looks like I wonder if it'll be climbable. I'm assuming it's going to be climbable, like the hanging vines that we saw in the Nether update.
Yeah, because I was going to say, it seems to have the same sort of generation as those, what are they? I don't even know what they're called. Crimson vines?
Yeah, crimson and warped vines.
Warped vines, yeah.
It's like I think the warped ones are twisting vines. I don't know. Then we've got moss blocks, which I think when I was watching it live, I mistook them for grass, and they have like their own carpet variation, kind of. I'm assuming they're going to be called moss layers of some sort, but we know they're called moss blocks. And when I was watching it live, Yog and I assumed, or he's not here, but we assumed it was going to be like stackable grass layers, but no, I think they're just carpet layers.
Essentially, from what I've heard.
Yeah. Then there's the spore blossom flowers, which they're like these big pink flowers that sit on like the ceiling or the floor. I don't know if they can be placed on the walls. I forget. And they spread spores throughout the caves, like kind of similar to how there's the spores in the nether biomes and like the forest ones. It's like that, particles. but you can pick up the flower, probably with silk touch or like shears or something, and move it to somewhere else. So you can create like an environment with spores in it.
Oh, with the flowers?
Yeah, those pink flowers.
Do flowers
You can pick them up and move them.
have spores though? Mushrooms have spores.
No, like they're like little particles.
The particles.
Interesting. They come from the blossoms.
It's like the floating. Yeah, and they come from the blossoms.
Interesting.
Then above the cave, you're usually gonna find an azalea tree, like on the surface, and that'll be how you find the cave. It's like a little structure to mark where it is. You just have to dig down, and it's like these new trees with like some sort. I think it was like purple flowers or berries. I'm not sure what an azalea tree is in real life. I haven't really done much research into it. Then there's the drip leaf plant. It's like a stackable kind of. It's like stacks in the same way like bamboo or sugarcane would, but at the top there's like a little platform where if you stand on it for too long, it'll like break and you'll fall. So it's like a timed platform thing.
Yeah, they like collapse and then you like fall through them.
So you can kind of use it for like a cool parkour thing, I guess. They regenerate after, I think.
So I just looked up quickly as well. Azaleas are kind of pink, white, purple, blue, that kind of colors.
And then also in the lush caves, this was revealed towards the end of the live stream a bit. Was the end. The axolotls. They're a water mob and they spawn in the lush caves. And when you pick them up with the bucket, I think they befriend you. Kind of like how foxes are. They're not really like pets, but like they'll kind of like get used to you, I guess. But they'll like follow you around after you've picked them up with a bucket, and they can fight mobs for you.
I'm really interested to see where that's going.
And they'll also when they're damaged, they'll play dead.
Yeah, that's like a whole new mechanic we're getting. They had mentioned it in the live stream. No other mobs like that, especially in the sense like it's a water pet
that they play dead.
I think, and that too. But
wait, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about like this is like the first water mob that we're getting that like we can tame, that follow us around and then can attack things like drowned and squids. So I feel like
they'll attack both peaceful and hostile mobs. It doesn't matter. They're a predator.
Even though
that's gonna make
like
guardian farming easy.
Tiny little like
but
fish.
They look really cute is the problem.
Do they though?
They look really cute in the buckets. They've got their little feet hanging out the top too.
Did you?
I don't know. I found the model for them to be a little bit weird looking.
There were two models. There was the baby model and there was the grown-up model, and you were probably looking at the baby one.
Where's the
baby one? Looks really weird.
Can anyone get a source
of that? The baby one is
just
like literally a rectangle with like 4 little legs sticking straight out of
I've
it.
just found that now. It looks ridiculous. Oh no. Yeah, I don't know. Minecraft mobs to me are always a little bit like, okay, it's square.
And there should be, I think it's 3 color variations for the axolotls: purple, pink, and yellow.
Oh, see, I saw in the concept art, I think it was just the pink and the yellow.
There was like a darker pink, which kind of like
purple.
blended in with the pink. Yeah.
It's a darker pink Jay.
Sad.
That joke was not as good as I hoped it would be.
I think if you have a problem with these, you probably don't like fish either, because like it's kind of the same style.
They're fish with legs.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Holy moly, who just shot me? The heck?
Whoa, to like 7
Who
hearts.
shot you?
Oh, I think Doc Little smacked me with a sword.
I mentioned it earlier, but flashback to when I got killed live on.
Yeah, was that episode like... what episode was that when we recorded the podcast up in the...
20, 30? 29?
I feel like it was 29. 30 was our reunion podcast.
Then yeah, it was 29.
Right
dear. Before that.
But Kimber to what ACG said. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. I do like the fish models.
I think you'll get used to it then.
I probably will. There's the one model in the whole game I do not like, and it's the Ravager.
I love it, dude.
I mean, yeah, Ravager.
It's a box with legs. Like, it is, like, even a cow is a box with legs, but the Ravager is just a giant rectangle.
Bro,
if you flip it upside down, it's hilarious.
Like a dinner bone Ravager?
Yeah, dinner bone Ravager is just like legs floating in the air.
Why do we not have one of those on the server?
We might have. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, Fatnik.
Yeah, I mean, it's lots of things going here.
And nobody knows how to access.
It's everything.
They're experimenting on mobs.
Hybrids. Oh dear. Yeah, no, axolotls are cute. I think, like ACG said, it's something that I personally will probably get used to. I wouldn't mind, like, I don't know. I'm curious to see how the, like, pet version will work. Because you don't really tame them, do you? Like Galaxy said, I think it sounds like it's just kind of like foxes.
But they follow you around. Like
you can have an army of them.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's not like they just... It's not like they just kill whatever they see. It's like they actively, from what I saw in the video at least, is they follow you, and then when they find something that like you've attacked, then they'll go after it. So I don't think there is any taming process, but I think that they'll just like stick to you if you capture them in a bucket. Maybe the bucket is the taming.
After you capture them in a bucket, they follow you around basically.
Yeah.
It seems to be the case. There's something I was going to say about them now and I've completely forgotten.
Man.
I don't know. So you can only find them in lush caves?
Yeah.
I think it's in water in lush caves.
Mm.
We'll have to, I think that's what they said during the presentation. We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, probably be similar to like the foxes.
Because there's probably going to be some changes made, obviously, from what we saw during the presentation.
There definitely will be.
Yeah, because we saw a lot of programmer art and stuff.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing about the presentation yesterday was how it looked a lot more polished than I would expect things to look, even if they're like not being released until like another year and a half. Or like a year.
Yes. If you remember the aquatic update, we saw like some early textures of the coral, and they looked completely different when we eventually saw them.
They look kind of icky back when we saw them as programmer art.
Yeah, they were.
But then again, that was like the transitioning time with Yappa being brought into Mojang.
I was about to say that was also when they were doing the retexture for the game in general, weren't they?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get that until 1.14. When 1.13 was in development, I think they were still experimenting.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see, like, from what I saw in the video, the caves look very, not ugly, but they kind of look like out of place. It looked like I kind of just went through with like world edit and just like brushed a giant area like clear in the middle of the world. And I
want to see how they like all transition between each other.
Yeah, I feel like once they go in and like start taking care of the finer details, they'll make it more of a complete experience instead of just like a world generation thing.
It really reminds me of like Quark's Cave Generation, if you've ever played with that.
I haven't.
Yeah. Actually, with the new cave generation and the new like mountains and stuff, that means they had to. Well, I'm pretty sure they increased the Y limit, so we have more space to build stuff now. And I'm excited to see the type of stuff that people are gonna build, because even like the largest builds in Minecraft, they're only limited to this 235 whatever build limit. But if it's getting raised, like if it's getting raised, people are gonna build giant stuff.
Wait, why is that affecting world height?
Well,
why is
like
cave?
We don't necessarily know that that's like going to happen yet, but by the looks of the sizes of the caves, I doubt you can fit all of that
in 64 blocks.
In 64 blocks. Plus, something we can talk about a little later in the podcast. They had mentioned another new cave biome, the Deep Dark, which is going to be like just above bedrock. I don't feel like that's going to be like,
and that was like at least
10 blocks tall or whatever.
Ravine. That looked like the height of a ravine. Those Deep Dark caves.
What I would,
I'm super excited for.
But I think we should before we get to that. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, if they had varied bedrock levels. I don't know if that would work, but I think that could be a really cool way to do it.
That'd be interesting.
That's how real life works.
Yeah, it'd be like
that's true.
Kind of like inverted hills underneath the world.
Essentially.
I think that means though that like some bedrock wouldn't be in the like 5 to 0 range. It would be like different Y heights, which would be kind of weird.
I wonder, yeah, coming back to like if they're going to change the world size, would that, like, would they have 0 as the bottom of the world still, or would they like go into negatives, which doesn't make sense?
I think they want to keep it at 0. Yeah.
Yeah,
Negative
I would imagine
probably
so.
would mess up with like other
Current
things.
world generation code,
I mean,
unless they've completely redone some stuff.
But also, in terms of, I don't know how to program Minecraft, but like obviously a chunk is 16 by 16 by like 256.
Yeah.
So like, are they gonna keep it in that kind of bits? So is it gonna be like 512?
Either that, or they might go cubic chunks and like split up chunks in different wide levels.
How do you mean? Oh, so like
16 by 16 by 16 is a chunk.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have chunks stacked not only in the X and Z directions, but also on the Y.
That sounds like it's going to be possibly more memory intensive.
It
Mind
might.
you, in saying that, would that also mean that you can have like vertical render distance?
Ooh,
I don't know.
Well,
this is all getting very complex.
I think like they got to figure out something, because there's, for one, the size of how big we saw the caves. Those feel like more than 60, like we had mentioned. But also like the size of the mountains in that one screenshot we got was insane.
Do you think that could be mountains and the big caves could be related? Like under large mountains, you'll find those deep caves?
Ooh, maybe. That's an interesting thought.
I mean, it would make sense. They kind of go hand in hand.
It would allow for more underground stuff.
And then, obviously, their core mechanic of world height wouldn't necessarily change. Also, for anyone that's not aware, in server preferences files, you can actually change the maximum build height.
Yes, but 256 by default, and that's like more
which I don't think you can change that in single player.
I don't think
that's
But shall we continue with the different cave biomes?
Yes.
I would love to talk about the deep dark.
Well, first we've got to do. First, we saw, which
Dripstone.
I'm assuming is going to be above the deep dark, the dripstone caves, which is stalactites and stalagmites. And the way I remember it is stalactites have to hold on tight. So from the ceiling. So the stalactites are the one on the ceiling, and the stalagmites are the one on the bottom. So oh wait, did I do this backwards in my notes? Oh no.
No, stalactites are on the roof.
Yeah.
Stalactites look like tides.
Yeah, I reverted this in my notes by accident. So the stalagmites, they'll deal damage if you fall on them or any mob does, and then the stalactites can fall from the ceiling and deal damage. And the stalactites also drip water, and they can actually fill up cauldrons.
But is anyone going to use that?
Yeah, like what a stupid feature.
I mean, it's cool, but like it's one of those things that they add to the game, and it's like, all right. It's like bees.
Exactly.
No, but no. If you're comparing the dripping in a cauldron to the entire bee ecosystem that was introduced, you are completely
okay. Well, the only iffy part of the stalactites and stalagmites is I don't really like the model. I'm not sure about you guys, but it kind of looked out of place. It didn't really feel very Minecrafty.
I think.
Well, I mean, we could say the same thing about the corals, like.
And bees.
No, the corals were like full blocks.
I know, but I think that they obviously know, first of all, like what's best for the game and like what textures will fit in with the game. And I guarantee you that that's not the final form of neither the model or the texture that you'll see.
So I was watching, I think it was Zoomovoid's video, and he mentioned in a thing we'll get to later that there was developer textures and not actual like model textures. So like textures the developers are just throwing together for the sake of programming.
Yep.
Yeah, that was
there was a lot of those in there was a lot of that in the stream.
Yeah. I would imagine the stalactites and stalagmites would probably end up being something more, because from what I can remember in the pictures in the video, they're quite detailed, like almost too detailed in terms of like physical 3D models. Like I feel like they need to be more chunky.
The 3D model was just like two planes crossing each other.
So exactly like the fire in the center is.
It's like it's like fire right there.
Static, and then it's static.
The like where you see the bumps on the side, that's just the texture going in and out.
Yeah, I had the impression that they were 3D, but I guess not.
No, I actually.
No, it's like fire or like a flower or something.
Oh, okay.
Like that.
See, I feel like 3D, they need to be. Well, I feel like they need to be more like wall blocks, you know, where they're chunky.
Yeah, I agree.
For
they
block,
shouldn't be like they shouldn't be like too fine detailed if they're gonna be like a block ish.
Yeah, mind you, when you fall on them or interact with them, do you pass through them? Surely not.
No, I think you like sit on top of them.
I'm trying to remember because I know there was a video of a zombie falling on top of a stalagmite.
I think it sat on top of it.
Okay.
The problem with it was it died. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really.
No.
We'll have to see. I'm sure we'll be able to experiment more if they release like more screenshots or videos, like the developers on Twitter or something, or once we get to mess with the snapshots.
Interesting.
And then also throughout the world, there's gonna be like rare crystal geodes.
Yes, can finally please the inner crystal girl within me.
The blocks that the crystals grow on, like those cannot be moved. They're like spawners. They cannot be moved. So like if you want to farm crystals, you have to build a farm there.
It's kind of cool.
And when you're in there, we heard like a tinkling sound. I'm not sure if that's actually like gonna be gameplay, but it was pretty cool, I guess.
I hope it's not a final sound. It was so jarring.
The crystals can be used
If it was a lot lighter than it is now, I would be okay with it. But yeah,
keep in mind their volume was boosted a lot.
True.
The crystals can be used to make a new item called the telescope, and it was kind of like it felt very cartoonish. Like when you're holding the telescope, it's like a pumpkin. It kind of like shrinks your view to like a circle, and then it zooms in, kind of like Optifine zoom. And
it's amethyst crystals, isn't it? That the geodes spawn.
The crystals, yeah. I'm not sure if we're gonna have different kinds of crystals, but the ones we saw in the presentation were amethyst. It would be cool if we saw more variations.
That's all that matters.
Actually, they were kind of more pink.
You know what, Galaxy? They were purple.
Yeah, amethyst is purple.
It's also just quartz.
Well, the texture was like pink.
This is true.
Yeah, it did look very pink.
It felt
all
kind
those
of like
crystals.
pale.
Yeah. Coming to the telescope. It looks. I mean, obviously, it's a developer thing. It looks very cheap, and I'd imagine that they were not the telescope itself, but the zoomy like circle. That needs work.
I think it's awesome.
Honestly,
I think it's kind of cool. Honestly,
my favorite aspect is the jarred lines around the edge, where they've literally you can tell they've just taken a black layer and just made like a oblong mask in it. An oval mask.
They'd probably do a transition or something, but I think this is going to be something really cool for mini games where your field of view is very limited, but you can see a lot further.
Time to ban Optifine on servers now.
Yeah, well, I mean, do you think they'll do something like Optifine where it just zooms the whole screen in, or do you think they'll have that like field of view?
It's got to be an item. It's got to be an item.
I saw an interaction on Twitter between somebody and a developer, and it was like, add an Optifine zoom accessibility feature. And then the developers responded like, how would this be an accessibility feature? I don't know. And then now we're seeing the telescope. So I don't know if that's related, but
I'm more meaning the actual, like when you look through the telescope, the texture that you see. I feel like that's going to change.
I think that's going to change too. It kind of, I think it needs more polish. I don't know how it would be polished though. Maybe like not have the black part be a texture, but like an actual circle. But
or
then
if anything, I'd imagine they'd make it like a pumpkin texture where it's got the gradient fade and not that sharp line, which I'd be fine with. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think the sharp line is like a real telescope, because with a real telescope, the kind of like outer edges are blurred when you look through it. And that squid is flying over there.
Nice.
He's just vibing.
All right. Well, should we come back to what was it? The deep caves? What are they called?
Oh yeah,
Deep dark, deep dark. Woo!
Jay, would you like to talk us through the deep dark?
I am so hyped for this. So another one of the biomes that they had announced, they're calling so far the deep dark, which is I'm gonna die. The deep dark is essentially like its own biome at the bottom of the world, kind of similar to like the Voidlands concept that's floated around the community for a while now. And basically it's like this dark, mysterious area with like a bunch of cool new like alien looking blocks and things.
Is this?
It looked like they belonged in the end.
Yeah, I loved that concept so much.
It's like the end of leaking into the overworld or something.
So is this where the new mob?
The new mob, yes.
Yes, this is where the warden comes in.
The big boy.
So the warden's a new mob that they announced that is essentially like the first blind mob. They're doing a lot of firsts in this update, which I like. So the warden works completely on sound. So whether that's footsteps, projectiles being thrown, blocks being broken, those are the things that attract it. And then those are the things that'll cause it to attack you.
Which makes a lot of sense considering
direct line of sight.
It'll head towards where the vibration is. So you can like throw projectiles or something to lead it away from you. And
which makes a lot of sense for something that lives in the deep dark, in somewhere where there's no light. Like it wouldn't need eyes. Like if you think about, how bats in real life use like, ultrasonic, like,
or like fish that are like sea creatures that are like really deep in the ocean.
Yeah, like they don't need to see, which is pretty cool.
And that warden, it's like really strong.
It is
the
incredibly
demo video we saw, the person was wearing full netherite and only took like 2 hits to kill it.
Yep.
Oh wow.
So the thing that I immediately thought of when they had mentioned the player was wearing netherite armor is, okay, how is protection going to affect this? Because like they didn't really mention anything about that. It's like if you're wearing a full set of protection for enchantments. I think that's.
And I wonder how much knockback it will have, because netherite armor also has knockback resistance. So
true.
We don't. If I want to see how much it knocks back the player.
He like slams you against the cave roof and you die from falling.
That'll be hilarious.
That would be pretty cool if they added more because if you're even like in the game now, if you're standing on like say a slime block launcher and you get shot up into the roof, if they added some sort of because obviously there's kinetic energy from elytra, that'd be interesting if they added that. But I love the idea of like the warden or like iron golems just like throwing stuff into like a ceiling and they just get splattered.
Player's skull was crushed by the ceiling.
I wonder, will they attack anything?
I think
any mobs
I would assume I would assume any mob that like produces a sound around them and like it's led to.
And speaking of those vibrations that it follows, we also got a new redstone block.
Oh my god, the redstone block.
It's a bit
the skulk sensor.
Yeah, I don't know. The videos I've seen for them, like, okay, so it reduces like redstone wire by like 3 blocks.
I don't think the purpose of it.
It's more than that. But okay, yeah, like its main purpose is it essentially takes that concept of the sound that the warden has, and it like is able to then produce a redstone
signal.
Exactly. So like it's able to sense blocks that are placed in front of it, or like projectiles thrown or around it.
Players walking, which replaces the whole pufferfish thing.
What about like farms that traditionally you can't use string for, and like you're forced to like either have like a clock or do like a.
What do you mean farms with string?
Like tripwire.
Oh.
Like you can use the sound instead. Like that's so much cooler.
Yeah. I feel like the range is quite limited though.
I think we definitely need to see more of the block because I will admit it did seem a little limited. But then again, I think a very big thing that Mojang's been pushing about this update is they want as much community feedback as possible.
It looks like we saw them spawning naturally. We'll have to see if they're craftable or not.
Oh,
because if they spawn natural, it'll be interesting to see players adventuring out to find them just for the redstone builds. You'll have these redstone experts actually adventuring for stuff.
Got him.
Oh yeah.
But also the wool blocks can be used to dampen the vibrations, so you can like block different sides of the sensor.
Is it only wool?
Like it's only wool, I think.
I would assume so, just because like
I like seeing wool useful more.
They specifically mentioned wool in the presentation, so
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like as soon as I watched it, I'm like, this is something that we are going to see used in almost like every redstone build from this update onwards.
Yeah.
Like for the real technical people, I'm like, this is going to be amazing. But for like everyone, it's kind of like, well, I don't know. It's definitely cool, but I think the way they kind of showed it to me was a little bit underwhelming. But I can see its potential.
It's kind of like a wide range pressure plate, sort of.
Yeah,
basically.
That's an interesting way of putting it. But yeah. And those are only found in the
if you wanted to have like automatic glass doors without pressure plates, like sliding glass doors, you could do that, and you wouldn't need like the pufferfish sensors anymore. It's kind of how like I think of it. It makes stuff that you need like the detect a player walking through easier, or like any entity.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it'll respond to like note blocks or anything like that.
I'm sure it would. I'm sure it would.
And then also, like in the demo video we saw where the player was fighting the warden, we saw candles, which those will probably be an extension to bees, because they're
finally,
an actual use for bees, decorations.
Because I was wondering where you were going with that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Actually, I didn't think about that.
Because bees make honey and honeycomb, and is there wax?
You can like grind the. No,
there's no wax.
Grind the honeycomb
be a new item.
Wax.
Yeah. When 1.15 was originally being developed, some of the textures were found early before features were released, and one of the textures found was a texture for wax, but it was like never properly implemented. So they decided to just go with like honey bottles and honeycomb.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something they bring back then for these candles.
And those candles I think they spawn naturally down in the deep dark. So
yeah,
I wonder who placed them there.
Wasn't there like little rooms?
Yeah, in the video of the warden, we had like structures that were down there.
So I wonder if there's some sort of intelligent mob down there. Or maybe the player was just setting up a small base to fight it. I don't know.
They kind of look like a strongholdy kind of thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd imagine it'd be some sort of like empty structure, like all the other kind of structures in the game. You know, like even the for those of you who remember it exists, the igloos.
Yeah.
How often do you go looking for igloos? Same vibe,
bro.
as
Every day, bro. Every day.
All those zombie villagers, I need them.
Yeah, I was gonna say same vibe as like a desert well, but at least with igloos, yeah, you get that. The what do you even call that? The basement.
The basement, yeah.
Yeah,
that's like a dungeon kind of.
Why are those like villagers just hanging down there? Like, who put them there?
I put them there, guys.
It's the lore. No, it really feels like this update's gonna be lore heavy. Even though Minecraft doesn't really have any lore.
What do you mean lower heavy?
Change the lore.
Lore. Sorry. Law. Yes, definitely.
No, I said I was explaining what he said, but you guys see the different block in the screenshot, right? That's like a totally different
stone.
There's lots of new stone types that are being added. We saw. We saw Yappa. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think it's Yappa.
He was working. Okay, he was working on like pixel art for different stone types, and he said later on that most of those were actually finished, and so it looks like we're going to be getting a lot of different stone types.
What I would like to see though is already have those stone types have their polished variants, have their like stairs, slabs, walls variants. Like, don't wait until
definitely
like 6 updates later to add them. Like,
give
me all the building materials.
It
All
seems
of
to be
them.
like a running
All the-
theme that they seem to do that.
All those textures are not being added to the game, he specified, but I think they're going to add a couple new blocks, and those are just ideas for it.
Oh, okay. Well, I remember
he specified like a little bit later that they're not all new blocks, but
those
yeah,
would be like,
we'll
I
see.
think he said like those would be considered finished textures or something.
Yeah.
So they're not all going to be added, but we've seen a bunch of different stone types in different like demo footage. So I really like that stone type that was in like the warden fight. It looks like it's going to be used for like a good cobblestone path or something. Like
It's
just
quite
that plain
nice.
stone. Yeah.
I really hope though, because it's been like this for a while now, they keep adding so many new blocks and so many stairs and walls and all that and slabs, but they still haven't like fixed the creative menu. It's excessive to try and.
They did mention something, I think, about that.
About creative
Well, they
menus?
mentioned about fixing
about like
menu.
inventories in general.
Oh, yeah, inventories.
Like,
That's what that was.
But does that include the creative inventory? Because that is a nightmare. To like go into the blocks tab and try and find even the blocks and the decorating tab.
Yep.
It's a nightmare. It's like, oh my goodness. I know where all the old blocks are, but trying to find new blocks. Like I remember on 1.8 even when they added prismarine and you had to go like all the way to the bottom to get like prismarine. It's like, but and then like the same with all the stairs, like now they're adding all these new stairs and stuff and they're all out of order. Like all the old wood stairs and stuff like that, cobblestone and stone brick are up the top, but then all the new like prismarine and quartz and all that are down the bottom. It's like, why?
I always keep selecting the like the silverfish blocks instead of the actual blocks.
I think I don't. That seems like a you problem.
I don't use the creative menu that often. But they did fix it with all the tools and stuff. They were redoing that by type rather than function, I think, or the other way around.
Let me. I'm just gonna cheat. Let's see. Jay saw that.
What? Huh?
Don't look at chat. Let's see. Yes, the tools tabs are quite well organized. So you kind of have.
Yeah, they just redid that, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like it goes wood, stone, gold, iron, diamond, netherite. Like it kind of goes
like
in
shovel,
order.
Axe.
Yeah, even like the combat tab, like it has all the swords first and then all the armor by type.
Yep.
So yeah, that's not bad. But then you go into the blocks tab, which is like, okay, and saying that like the crimson and warp, like the nylium blocks are up there with dirt, like that's good. But then like blackstone is all at the bottom. And like all, see all the new stairs, like the granite, the redstone, like the mossy stone, the red nether brick, all the quartz is like separate from like, yeah, like purple and oak stairs are like halfway down, but like together, and then nether brick is later, and like the stone brick and the brick stairs are in a different place. Help. It's a nightmare.
I would much rather they like completely scrap what they have now and do like a whole new system. Like, I don't know how this idea would necessarily work, but like you can like click on a stair and then it opens up like all the stairs you've got, but not have them like all.
I would still like
have them organized.
That's kind of like what they do in Bedrock, and I don't really like that. I would still like an option for the current creative menu if they do that.
I think it just needs reworking.
Yeah.
Because it could work something like the crafting book, but yeah, I would prefer to have them more. I think they just need to be all put together like they do with the tools. Like just have all the stairs together, all the slabs together. Like I think that would just kind of fix the general issue.
I would even say have it by like material type. So like you had mentioned, purple and oak stairs are like on their own. Have the oak stairs by the rest of the oak things. And then have the purple stairs with the rest of the purple things. And then like maybe alphabetically. I don't know.
I'm just thinking about when I try and organize like my chests in survival mode, like trying to do stuff like that. All of a sudden, you end up with these kind of blocks that don't fit anywhere.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't know.
Honestly, I just use the search bar in the creative inventory
all
the time.
yeah. I just use. Oh boy. Who hasn't slept?
Guys, I put a bet on the platform
there are
for
two
this
beds
exact
around.
reason. This exact reason.
There's one on the island over here.
The little's just hanging out. But yes, coming back to the...
I'm not wearing armor.
Coming back to the deep dark, I think it's cool that we're getting new cave blocks. Same with the lush caves. Like having unique blocks to different cave areas, I think is something that kind of was quite core at the cave update, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious to see how they've managed the different generation. Alright, should we move on to...
Well, there's still something more with the cave portion. I kind of put it at the end of the doc because it was towards the end of the show. We saw copper ore, a new ore.
Yes.
We'll cover that now.
And they said something about it generating in veins, which I don't know how that's different from the current veins. Because
I think they were reworking veins and not just having like a block of things, but more like an actual real life strung out kind of vein.
Kind of like real life quartz.
Yeah. Exactly that.
Like real life ores in general, yeah.
Yeah. Because like I'm just thinking I know that like real life quartz kind of it's to do with how the rocks form and pressurize and geology.
Well, yeah, quartz.
And I didn't really like the texture of the copper. It looked really weird to me.
Yeah, me neither.
It felt like they took the nether gold texture and just made it copper stone.
Wait. Are we talking about the ore or the block?
The ore.
I think the ore.
I don't like the block either.
Anyone go
I don't like the block
that?
either.
I think the block is a little too vibrant.
It has too many different shades, in my opinion. Too many different shades appear in it. That's why it looks weird.
I feel like it's too contrasty, too saturated, too. Right?
Yeah,
and the copper version of it. I like the oxidized version, which is another.
And this is kind of like the.
Hang on, are we talking about ores or blocks?
Wait, we're still talking about the ore here, aren't we? Like the stone one?
I'm just talking about beans, man, you know?
Jay, stop yelling.
Honestly, for the most part in this update, I feel like everything's good, but a little bit of textures could use rework, but...
Which I'd imagine they will, considering we have, what, like 9 months, maybe longer? A lot longer.
Yeah.
What are we now? October?
Well, end of summer could be like August or summer,
I'm kind of hoping it is, from the perspective of a server operator.
Yeah,
because like that's something I was a little bit upset about was the fact that we just had the Nether update, which a lot of people either reset their worlds for or reset the Nether. Mainly, I think a lot of people, majority, just reset the whole world. Now they're like, oh, here's another update where we're going to reset everything too. So I'm hoping that they kind of space that out a little bit more. Even though, I mean, we have had the Nether update for a reasonable time now. Is that fair to say?
I totally agree with you on that.
I think we should have at least a year between world-changing updates.
I think
that's a good.
That's what it's going to be, though, right?
I think so.
It's going to be a year.
Hopefully. There's probably going to be chunk borders because the way mountain biomes generate completely different and the way caves generate are completely different. So we're probably going to see chunk borders.
Yeah, like if you upgrade from 1.16 to 1.17, absolutely. But if you just make a whole new world, then that'll be fine.
Yeah, it's going to be fine. But once you upgrade, there's definitely going to be chunk borders, I think.
Yeah,
I think
like with 1.8, 1.13, anything that had as a major world generation change.
Well, 1.13 didn't really have a major world generation change. It's just the stuff that appeared in oceans changed. Like the layout of the ocean stayed the same.
Yeah, and you would end up with
that was bearable. You just
the ocean colors was the main
kelp.
thing.
Oh yeah.
Like if you look on the existing Season 2 worlds, when we did Phase 2 on there, you can actually see the harsh changes from ocean when we did, because we did 2 things for that. For those of you who remember, we did a whole podcast on it, which was quite interesting about the process.
Like the old oceans turned into lukewarm oceans?
Yeah, because what we did is we did 2 things. We did a region purge, which is essentially where you just delete regions that haven't been accessed for a long time, just in the server files. And we also did, which took a long time, I ran the whole world through MC Edit with a filter that specifically deleted ocean biomes. Obviously, you could select regions to keep, which we did with like the spawn area. Sorry, not the spawn area. Things like I think it was Eli's base and something else, like the map. I think it was the big map that Kyle and ACG built. But yeah, like we ended up with these harsh kind of chunks where you would see that it was only really, like you said, the ocean colors. But looking back on like for those of you know my Patrick's World series, my single player world that I've had forever, like there's a million chunk borders on that where I've gone from like 1.6 to 1.7 and 1.7 to 1.8. Like there's all these harsh edges. But I think what we'll find come 1.17, I think we'll see it again, where we're going to see new SMP, new servers starting a new world, because I think
luckily
that's
with
be the best approach.
1.16, it was just the nether that changed.
Yes.
It wasn't like the main overworld where everybody was building. And before the nether update, nobody was really building in the nether, so not much was lost other than like any like nether hub or something that you had built. But that stuff can be restored. But like all this, it's going to look really bad next to a big chunk border.
If the whole thing with the build height changing is like true, I wonder how chunk borders would work then. That'd be really wacky.
Yeah, I think we'll just have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true, but that'd be interesting to see.
Well, we haven't finished with copper yet.
Yeah, let's wrap around copper and then we'll jump back to mountains.
Yeah. This is the first metal block that we're seeing that actually has like a slab and stair variant. And also, the copper blocks have a special property. They will oxidize over time. They're basically going to turn green.
So,
and I think
blue,
the time lapse.
Actually, I've been very upset about people saying they turn green. Copper turns blue, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
I'm going to fact check that.
I call it like an aquamarine, like a teal, like a blue green, like
I'm going to fact check
green
combined, but
it goes
legally green, but
turquoise,
not eye green.
Copper turns green.
The Statue of Liberty is copper, and it's turned green.
Turquoise.
Over time, copper will naturally change colors, transforming from a shiny brown color to darker browns, then blues, and finally greens after a number of years.
Yep.
But the time lapse we saw, somebody actually counted the days that passed, and it was 16 days.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm hoping that
again, I think it was Zoomafoid's video. Quite a good video. Highly recommend.
Yeah, that's where I got it from, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that was just for the time lapse sake, because I don't really want it changing that quickly.
That is quite
like 16
quick.
days. 16 days is a very short time on a 24/7 server.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, how many days are we on already here? Like, 8,291.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it did change a little too quick, but I like the concept.
I think it'd be cool if they had. Yeah. They need to do, I think, what they have with, I don't know how they'd do it, it'd be quite tricky, prismarine textures. So they have an animated textures for that matter. They have like a very long texture. Galaxy, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
you're right.
That's not really possible with this, because this has to be like a permanent change.
I think it just
needs... Unless you can like go and clean it or something.
This uses...
Well, if they made like a clear coat or something that protected it.
Like an aerosol can. Go down to the hardware store and get a can of clear coats.
I mean, they're adding telescopes. Why not?
This is true.
Yeah, and the copper can be used to craft a lightning rod, which you can basically place on top of your structures that can burn when lightning hits them, and
Sabotage.
The lightning goes to the lightning rod instead of your structures. And it doesn't produce any fire when it hits the lightning rod.
Do we know any information about kind of the radius of where that attracts lightning from?
I don't think we heard about that.
I'd assume it's a large one, though.
Yeah. I'd assume it's at least 16 blocks.
At least 16.
At least 16. Yeah.
At least 2.
I mean, I guess that works. I mean, you can just have a few on your house, you know. But it'd be interesting to see what kind of range those have.
And I wonder if they can be stacked. Because I want to have like a
very tall
lightning rod.
Yeah, they look a little bit too stubby.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably use things like I wonder if like iron bars or anything. I wish they'd make iron bars a little bit more chunky.
A bit more of a big boy. Patrick, wouldn't you have loved lightning rods on Keystone for your house?
This is true. I would have also loved lightning rods on season one.
Yeah.
Galaxy knows what's up. We had in fact, we turned Fire Tick off in the end, didn't we, Galaxy? That was the only server where I was like, fine, I'll do it. Because we literally, like, remember, season 1 was a jungle.
Yeah. So it burned quick.
We were battling forest fires a lot, and especially when we ended up having, like, Kyle when he built his blimp.
Oh.
And especially on season 2, ACG, remember your mansion?
Bro, ACG's mansion got hit so
yeah, he ended up building a lightning shield.
Oh, he's there. ACG, you're muted.
Oh yeah, I did build a lightning shield. I forgot about that.
Don't you have to like place cobwebs in the sky for that?
No, we did glass.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think on like game mode 4, I forget. I think it was the one where we had like the world center thing with the big shopping district.
The world hub.
There was like the world hub. There was cobwebs in the sky there. That's how they prevented lightning.
Funniest part about ACG's lightning shield was there was that one glass block missing, and lightning always went straight through that one.
As it tries to hit near the ground, not up high.
Mm-hmm.
Smart.
Oh my god.
Smart lightning. Oh dear. Right, should we jump back to... We've covered caves, I think. Have we got everything cave related now?
I think we have everything cave related.
Should we jump back up to the surface and talk a little bit about the gigantic mountains that we've seen in those screenshots?
Oh my gosh. That one screenshot we got, they looked beautiful.
It vibed with every custom world generation mountain like I think I've ever seen. I distinctly remember... Do you remember presets, world presets we had?
Yeah. Those are gone now, sadly.
Yeah, sadly, alas.
Well, the presets are still there, but like the custom stuff is gone.
Yeah, the custom stuff. Because
with
back
like,
in...
the ores and all that.
Yeah, I remember coming across on Reddit, I think it was, there was a thread where people were developing an accurate world generation preset, and it made these giant mountains like that and big valleys and lakes and all that, and that is the exact vibe that I get from those screenshots we saw. Just those big, kind of flowing, high-scale, just mountains, and it's awesome. Is there any, like, is it literally just world generation? Or is there any kind of new features that we're getting, apart from the mob?
Goats.
Yes.
Well, we got the new mob.
But in that, it's literally just in terms of...
snow.
Oh, are we getting snowier snow?
It's like deep snow.
Ah.
I forgot what it's
How does that work?
I forgot exactly what it's called.
Because that was...
You'll fall through it. Like, you'll fall through it if you're not wearing a
it's like traps. Yeah, you can use it as a trap too.
Yeah.
Oh, it has to be leather boots?
Yeah, so you'll kind of like sink into it if you're wearing anything else other than like leather boots.
That's kind of cool. I
sent the screenshot that we got there.
Oh wow, yeah, that's pretty crazy. It kind of vibes.
You can see the clouds and how high above it is.
That's pretty crazy.
Oh.
I like how they're kind of starting to vibe with using different armor types for different purposes. Like how 1.16, we got, you got to wear gold, otherwise piglins will think you're a meanie. And now you got to wear leather, otherwise you'll get stuck in the snow. Like, I like that. I like that they're kind of adding those.
Wait, did they say that?
What?
Did they say leather? Well, or else you'll get stuck
leather
in the
boots.
snow?
Yeah.
Oh, was that like the snow traps thing?
Yeah.
I assume so.
Oh, I remember that now. I think I skipped over that by accident.
Especially now that they've added netherite, it's like, it's netherite or nothing. Which is what I've said anyway. Like, I mean, I'm wearing netherite. I'm still trying to wear my chainmail because it's hip. But
hip.
I do like that the especially leather and gold. The two armor things that kind of nobody's gonna bother with, or nobody used to bother with, is now like actually getting a practical use. A reason to have it.
Because everybody would skip over leather and go straight to iron usually, because
no one would do gold.
Like, for those of you familiar with game mode for like Galaxy, gold is the main armor for one of the data packs called Zalba Cauldrons, where you can make basically magic armor. Is that probably the best way to describe it?
That's probably the best way to say it, because special effects and all that.
Yeah, and they focused on using gold for that because gold didn't really have a purpose, and plus gold's weak, so it kind of like has the trade-offs. I think it's quite cool that they're kind of doing, especially with like leather boots, like they kind of make sense, like snow boots, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think it'll be cool to see like people dyeing their special snow boots, and then like naming them and keeping them, and now people will actually use them.
Yeah. Goats.
Oh, goats, yes. Goats
Banana
were
Bubble.
last
Kat,
year.
would you like to tell us about the goats? Because you seem to be
They're
quite
very
excited
goaty.
for them.
That's all I saw from the mountains was the goats.
That is the one thing you care about. As long as
I
they
think
are
the
goats,
baby
you'll be
goats are
happy.
adorable.
Oh, I didn't see
Yeah, I
baby
mean,
goats.
what else do they do other than just like headbutt you off a mountain?
They
They jump
high.
real high.
Yeah, that was.
I really hope that they'll have some sort of smarter, like, what's the term I'm looking for? Like, pathfinding? Because, it'd be really cool to see if they, instead of like, how cows, and like, I'm pretty sure at the moment there's a cow up on the mountains behind us that's just kind of chilling. Like, I really hope that goats will be like, oh, I can, jump this 3-block gap to this other side here.
Where's this cow you see?
I can't see it from down here. It's way out of render distance, but there is one up there, I can assure you.
Okay. I will trust your
Telx,
word.
What were you saying?
I was gonna say, really cool. Because mountain goats in real life can do crazy stuff on mountains.
They can. It's kind of hilarious. Oh, yeah.
Will you find like llamas and mountain goats together?
I hope so.
What
I
if they kill
assume
llamas?
so. That is vibing. You can become like a just a mountain farmer, just living off goats. Basically, be in the Himalayas. Goats and llamas. Do you find llamas are not in the Himalayas. Llamas are in the Andes.
Yeah, they're in South America.
Yes, thank
They're
you.
native to Peru.
Yes. Yeah. I think combining caves and mountains makes a lot of sense because you're kind of making a lot of changes underground, but you're also making these big changes above the ground.
Well, it's just mostly like world terrain stuff.
Mm.
Not just changing like biomes and trees.
That's pretty cool. Was there any kind of other key features that we've missed there with kind of mountains?
There's gonna be like height-based changes in the mountains.
Oh,
I think that's what the height-based generation that we saw implemented in 1.15. Like as you can see in the screenshot, lower down there's like less snow, and higher up there's more snow.
Oh yeah, and the trees aren't gonna grow like above the snow line.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
and the trees don't grow up high where it's all rocky.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
They get
too.
smaller as well. See how
Oh.
they're
I mean,
they
we-
decrease in size.
They do. Small trees, small.
oh yeah, they grow smaller up high.
I hope that kind of leads to a wider variance in tree growth. Like, I hope we get to see like small trees and more
Mini
big
trees?
trees. Yeah.
Revamp trees.
But I have a funny feeling they're just gonna focus on like there's a high chance they'll just be like, oh yeah, well this is just for this biome. Like it'd be cool if they did it for like all trees or kind of all biomes had that kind of different variance in height. But I have a feeling it probably won't, and they'll do it in a later update or something like they tend to do. I don't know. Should we move on to the new items and the new, like, structure? Should we talk about bundles?
Yeah,
Oh,
let's
yeah.
talk about bundles.
Bundles. I don't know
Let's
how
talk
I
about
feel
bundles. They
I
seem
don't know
like
how
a
I feel about
cop-out.
bundles.
Yeah, I agree.
It seems like they're trying to do something to, like we had talked about earlier, revamp inventory management and things like that. But I don't.
I don't like it.
I don't like
So,
bundles. I don't
for
like.
those who
So
aren't
they can
aware...
carry Okay, sorry. Yeah, you talk.
No. What are bundles?
They can.
So, Galaxy.
They're like an item. They take up one slot and they can carry up to 64 unique items. They can all be the same item or they can all be different items. And you basically put items into it by clicking the bag and then clicking over items in your inventory. Then you can shift click to get the items out of the stack. So it's like compressing a bunch of different items into one stack. And I feel like it's just gonna turn into a mess of managing bundles now. Like you're just gonna have a bunch of random bundles.
I think if we were able to like right click the bundle and it would open up like a little inventory.
That's what I want it to be implemented.
Not essential, not nowhere near as big as like a chest or a shulker box or anything like that. I'm thinking maybe like 5 slots.
I think it should. I think it should still
like how the crafting menu works, and it just kind of comes up with a mini thing.
Yeah,
like that kind of size.
Like
I think the charm with the bundles is that they can hold an infinite, or sorry, not infinite, but they count the number of items that you have, not the number of different types of items you have.
Yeah,
which
that's
is really
what I'm saying.
cool for gathering like materials, as like flowers and vines and greenery and stuff. Like it's different for that.
And I like the texture because it's in the stream. We saw they kind of commented it's like a little gift wrap, and you can like give gifts to friends. But I think it should be like an inventory where you can grab individual items out instead of like shift clicking. But it shouldn't be like a full inventory. It should like you still have to click to put items in, but then you can like right click it or something to open it up, and then when you take like a stack out of one of those slots, like the slots will automatically appear based on how many items are in. Like it'll be, I think that's how it should be implemented. Then you can take it out and the slot will disappear.
The way that they have it where it just has all the little items, like it's a cool idea, but it looks kind of crappy.
It does.
I don't want to have to shift click to take everything out, then sort through it, then put everything back in.
Yeah, I just don't like how it looks. It needs to have like some sort of slot or like a list, like kind of how, when you hover over a shulker box. But like I think the way that bundles are designed to work, they need to have some sort of physical like slots. It'd be cool if it was actually, I think they just need to add some sort of like backpack or something and have it pop up, like on the right side of the inventory, kind of like how the crafting book pops up on the left, like an extension to your inventory.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now that they've shown us how the bundles work, I don't think we're going to be getting like an extension to the inventory. I think it's going to be some sort of item-based inventory management. I don't think they're going to change away from the idea of bundles, but they might change how they work.
Yeah, I hope they do, because like it's a cool idea, but I think it's not ready, which is fair enough. I mean, they've still got, till mid next year until the update comes out. So we're going to see a lot of changes between now and then.
Yeah.
But the principle's there. The concept's there.
Yeah, for sure.
I really like the aesthetic. I don't like the function.
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
Yep. And I think function, as great as aesthetic is, function comes first.
Yeah. I like the idea of like being able to like put little parcels in your friend's mailbox, for example, on the existence server. We have the mail room. I like that idea.
Shulker boxes.
Well, you can give them shulker boxes, but those are expensive.
Yeah, and plus I think there's something cool about the bundle. Like it's a little package.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Right.
I think kind of like where they were going with it, but it's bad implementation.
Yeah. I like the idea of it like basically compressing different items into a single stack, but it makes sense in like the Minecraft quote unquote universe and how everything works.
Yeah, I suppose.
Right. Where you have like a limit of 64. Sorry.
Should we?
I think the last thing is.
Oh my goodness,
Archaeology.
Yes,
okay, I'm sorry.
To say.
Okay, you say it. I never said anything.
What I wanted to say is, should we move on to the one thing? When I was watching the recaps and videos about it, I scrunched my face at this because I thought it was silly and doesn't make sense, and nobody's going to use it. Archaeology.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I kind of zoned out at that point.
Yeah.
What? You guys think this
first
is dumb?
we should say
I don't think it's dumb, but I think it's odd.
Everything we saw in the archaeology section, all of that was programmer art. It was not finalized at all. Yeah, but specifically said that afterwards.
Bro, they're adding pots, and you can put patterns on them. Like that's not.
I like the clay pots.
I love
and I like you can put patterns on them. And I really like it. I just don't like the way you have to like get everything. It's kind of
I don't know. So
it encourages you to explore. It adds more stuff in the world to find, which I think is really, really cool.
What update did they add fossils?
1.11, I think.
Yeah.
I think something like that. So I thought that was awesome. I think it's really cool that you can find fossils, and I think I always wanted to go find fossils and then make like a little museum around the fossil underground. How many people care about fossils?
I actually haven't found a fossil.
Free bone, isn't it?
I have like never found a fossil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can see something like archaeology being a kind of cool way to do it. I don't know, obviously it's very, very early days, and like Galaxy was saying, it's all developer art and stuff at the moment. Like there's no actual, polished version of this yet. I like the idea that you can go and find these more underground, like buried structures, and they kind of seem to be slightly more above the surface than necessarily underground. Is that fair to say? Is that accurate?
They're all most of them are above. Yeah.
I just think it's a little bit.
It'll be like little campsite setup, I think.
It just feels like it's very out of place. It almost feels like, this is ironic to say, but of all the things we've seen, this feels like the most modded. Like, this feels like something somebody would mod into the game.
Really?
It seems more like an adventure map kind of thingy.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think
I agree with that.
Aspects of it, like the structures feel weird. But
I think for me,
I like the rest of it.
Yeah, the way I think for me at the moment, which I think over time, once it gets tweaked a little bit more in the way that the textures and stuff kind of look, I think it'll work a bit more. I'm just curious to know how it's going to work. Can you do like is it only in those areas you can do archaeology, or is it only in those areas? Interesting.
Yeah. Those areas are the only places you're going to find like the ceramic shards like we saw. For context, basically what happens in these dig sites is there's a new item like the brush, and then you hold down right click or something on like gravel or dirt, and then you have to keep holding it until you uncover the full artifact. If you stop holding down, then the artifact will break. That's like when they said you have to like put effort into it or like pay close attention. What they really mean is don't let go of the button. And you get the item, and then you can put it onto like an uncooked clay pot, and then you place fire underneath it to cook it. That's what we're talking about. We're like, yeah, just for context.
Personally, I would see myself doing that once and never thinking about it again.
Yeah,
that's what I feel
my
like.
concern.
Like just for like a single decoration in my base or something.
My concern is that it'll become generic very quickly. Like, I think it's something that could be very unique and quite cool and something to do a lot of, but I feel like once you've done it once, like the what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, the
replay value?
Yeah, that'll do. Like, it's kind of, it's not really there. I don't know. I think it's a cool idea, and I like the idea of having these little things that you can kind of do in the game, but it just feels very odd. ACG, I'm interested to hear your perspective, because you seem like quite keen for this.
Yeah, I think it's cool, because, ever since they added like the illager outposts, and they like refreshed villages, and they did like all the stuff with the oceans, and like all these small modifications to get people like walking around and looking at the new world generation and stuff. Like, these are all like small things that in the grand scheme of things people probably aren't going to use very often, but they add just a little bit more gameplay, which is like, in the grand scheme of things, it adds up to something much larger than like that one little piece. And I feel like for someone like me or Yog, like, this is going to be a cool little design thing that you can put in that like doesn't really have it doesn't really have much bearing on like the whole of a house, but like it adds up to the greater whole. Like, if I put like a fancy little vase, I can like customize it to have like these certain symbols and icons that I want it to have. I think that's awesome.
The small details in a space.
Yeah,
I can get behind that. I see, like you mentioned pillager outpost there. I feel like they're another example of kind of something they got added, and it's cool that they got added, but they don't really. I don't know. They're quite like I think pillager outposts, for example. I think something that I would like to see with those is better loot, maybe, or like more of a reason to go there. I do like what you're saying though about with the archaeology sites that you can go and you can actually get those unique kind of pots and stuff. I just wish they'd add maybe more things, like maybe a greater reward from it. I know they've talked about like emerald blocks and stuff. I don't know. I'm not sure what they would kind of do there, but I can see it having potential, but I'm just very concerned that it might kind of fall off the radar like a lot of kind of other things that have been added tend to do.
I guess. I think the one thing with pillager outposts though, like you're talking about the loot, but like the loot is like one aspect of them, because you can get significantly more loot from just like getting bad omen and going to a village from the pillager outpost.
Exactly. So like what's the point of the pillager outpost?
It's because it's an easy way that you like know there's always going to be pillagers and you can always get bad omen from them.
And you can like set up farms there or something.
Yeah.
And to get because evokers can spawn as part of raids, like you can set up a raid farm with them or something.
Yeah.
And get a bunch of
I feel like a lot of structures in the game are a little bit sad at the moment. Like even I don't know, like jungle temples.
Jungle temples feel
ocean
useless.
Monuments. Not
ocean monuments have a purpose.
They have a purpose if you want to put the effort in, but actually just like you know, they make if going to one has no reason. Like 4 gold blocks. Sorry, 8 gold blocks.
Also the sponge. It's the only one to get. Only way to get
a huge thing.
True. I don't know.
And they all add up to a greater thing. It's not like like a jungle temple isn't like very useful by itself, but like when you're someone who is wandering around the world, I'd much rather have a bunch of random structures, some of them being useless, than nothing at all.
Yeah, I get that. I think it definitely makes the world feel more interesting to actually be in.
Yeah.
Coming quickly mentioning jungle temples, something I'd really like to see with those, and I think desert temples need an upgrade on this too. I think they need better traps.
Yeah,
I'd throw that in
traps
there.
that you won't actually defuse within the first 5 seconds of walking in there.
I think, for example, jungle temples. I think if you try break the blocks to get into where the chest is, I think it should just explode. But I mean, that's off topic.
That's a bit ruthless.
It's just something I've been thinking about.
Bro, this is a children's game.
We
can't go blowing up
but
people.
we have the warden, so I don't know if it's the
and desert temples explode.
Spooky warden. No, but the warden's like a new thing. Like if you change jungle temples, a lot of people aren't gonna know that, and they're just gonna die.
But you know, like desert temples explode. They're just really easy to defuse because you just don't stand on the pressure plate.
I love the creeper jumps in with you at the same time.
Yeah, I love that. I keep seeing, I don't know if it was a TikTok or something, where I think their cat or their dog or something like jumps down and lands on the pressure plate, sets them off. It's a good time. Ah, dear. Right, should we come up to our final point here? This is probably, I think, one of the longest podcasts we've ever done.
Well, there's a lot to cover.
Well, we also haven't had a podcast in a couple months.
This is true.
I know nobody's fault, but...
Yep, everyone was pretty busy last month, so we had to skip it, unfortunately. Should we jump to our final point here before we... Because there's a lot more. There was obviously a lot to do with Minecraft Dungeons and such. They got announced at Minecon, but I think we're just going to focus on 1.17.
The game we play. Java Edition.
The game we play.
Does anyone even play Dungeons anymore? I don't know.
Yes, I do.
Jay loves it, I think.
Oh,
I love Dungeons so much. Really
I would, but I can't run it.
Crossplay coming soon. Crossplay was actually announced. It's finally coming.
Oh, nice. Right.
Yeah.
Should we wrap up Caves and Cliffs here?
Yes.
Our last
the
point?
mob vote.
We're going to talk about the mob vote. Yeah.
Before even though I'm pretty sure everyone knows what it was, I'm curious to go. I'm going to go around one by one and call out everyone's political opinions on what they voted for.
Oh, you can call me last then.
Okay.
No, Jay, get over here.
My opinion.
Telx, what were you hoping for?
Well, I wasn't there, so I didn't vote, but I wanted the Iceologer.
Okay, Iceologer. Dr. Little?
I'm gonna be honest with you. At first, I was going for the Moo Bloom, but then once that got voted out, I was going for the Iceologer.
Interesting. Galaxy?
I first went for the Moo Bloom, and then once that got voted out, I went for the Iceologer.
Interesting. Kitkat?
I didn't go for the Iceologer because I feel like I would die to it too often. So I had to go for the squid.
ACG?
I missed the first one because I was doing homework, but the second one I did the glow squid.
What were you hoping for at the beginning, though?
I don't know. I was conflicted between the Moo Bloom and I don't know. I think all three of them were great, and I would have voted for any of them, and I had a really hard time choosing. So I don't know. Personally,
I really liked the glow squid because it was pretty, and I'm kind of over Illages. But I didn't vote because there was like I'd have to be up at a stupid time in the morning, so I was like, okay, you guys got this. I don't mind phantoms that much, so I don't really mind it. Right, Jay.
I hate the mob vote. I don't like the mob votes at all. So I went in seriously. I went in wanting all three because I think all three like presented their own unique aspects that could have been added. And while I'm pretty sure they did say like this mob vote. Regardless, we're adding all three. It's just vote on the one you want in 1.17.
Didn't they say that about it last time?
I think
or was it the biome
or whatever.
Vote?
That was the biome vote. So like we're supposed to get the other biomes that we had voted on, which we haven't gotten yet. But like
just be glad we're getting caves and cliffs.
I know, but it's so it's such a silly thing. Like why are we voting if they're all going to be added? Like I'm sure the majority of people would prefer like adding all three at once.
Yeah.
I agree. I wanted all three, but
so for those of you who aren't aware, the winner was the glow squid, which I think, honestly, it's not the worst. I think it's pointless. It doesn't really do anything, but I think it is it's a nice little, like, kind of what ACD was saying about, those small things. It adds up, and, now you can go to the oceans, and, I mean, we haven't really got any details about spawning yet, but it's going to, assumably, hopefully spawn in quite an interesting way. I hope it's not just everywhere. I hope it's like you have to go to the dark, like the deep parts of the ocean, to kind of get to it. I hope, anyway.
That I agree.
But yes. How do we feel about the glow squid?
I think it's cool.
I wish honestly,
it light, though.
I don't really care about what mob won. I'm just glad we got all the stuff in the caves and cliffs update by its own.
Yeah,
I agree.
Does the glow squid emit light, or does it just have a?
It does not.
Just an emissive texture.
It has glowing eyes like an Enderman.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it.
That's dumb. I hate it.
I wish it. Well, I think they'll change it after community feedback because like this is something that like a lot of people want.
Yeah,
if they make it emit light, then there's probably going to have to be an a dynamic lighting system implemented.
Yeah, I think it needs to emit light. Otherwise, it's not what it is,
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not sure.
I mean,
why even make another squid? Like, why even make another squid if it's just going to have a different texture? Like, there has to be something different about it.
Which is what I was under the impression of.
At the same time, that's like, why add, like...
Moo blooms.
I don't know.
Why add bees?
Yeah, moo bloom. Or why add...
Well, because moo blooms have a specific interaction with bees that doesn't exist with any other mob.
What was the interaction?
We don't know, but it exists.
I would assume that bees would be able to pollinate from moo blooms as well as flowers.
And I think you would have been able to share moo blooms for their flower, which would have been a nice new way to farm flowers. That's actually smart.
I don't think. I don't know. They're not actually.
I doubt it. I doubt they'd do that. But
they would have had a new flower added with them. They would have had a new flower. That would have been a confirmed new item.
I don't know. Yeah. Hey, but if what they said is true about getting all of them added eventually, then all right.
I'm good.
Why are we voting then? I guess it's for what do we want now. And I guess we're getting the glow squid that doesn't actually glow. So
I'm sure if we like give them feedback, we can get it to glow.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Right. Do we have anything else to cover in regards to the Caves and Cliffs update?
In conclusion, gamer update cannot wait for summer 2021.
Agreed.
Very good. All right. So I think that pretty much kind of wraps things up for the podcast here.
Yeah. I think so.
This has been an awesome podcast. One of the longest ones, in fact. So it's been a good time.
It's been like an hour and a half.
Yeah. So for anyone watching this, if you are interested in audio versions of our podcast, you can find them at existencesmp.com/Patreon. And for $1 a month, you can get access to audio files. And on that note, I would also like to go through and quickly thank all of our glorious patrons for their ongoing support, because without those patrons, we would not be able to be here on the server, for starters. And we also would not have our creative server and our World's Archive server, which patrons have access to. And also, just, you know, with that support, we're able to have these servers at the core of the Existence community. And it's, you know, we next year, in March, we will be going on 5 years of Existence SMP, which is insane. And it is the support of not only the patrons, but the rest of the expanded community that we're able to do that. But I want to have a special shout out and thanks to our patrons for allowing us to do this. I'm just going to run off the list I have here. Usually I have the actual patron list open, but I'm afraid if I do that now, it's going to mess up the recording. So I'm going to run through our completely out of order Discord list here. So a quick thank you and awesome shout out to Cat the Kitty Cat, KSAWS, ACG1000, ATM2222, Chrismon, Delta Dragon, Diamondback88, Duo Gets Wrecked, Ha2222, iGalaxy, ItsPurpleJay, Lord of the Undead, MC Zombie Slayer, Pineapple_123, Dr. Little, Salvatore, Sandman, Shikikani, The Mundane, Torbury, Wafflestick, and Wolf Guy. I think that's everyone. I hope that's everyone. It's everyone that's in Discord anyway. But yes, thank you guys all so much for your support, and thank you to, if we go for another list here, to ItsPurpleJay, iGalaxy, ACG1000, Dr. Little, Banana Bubble, also known as Kitkat, and Telx for their support and joining for the podcast. And also, I think we should send a special shout out to iGalaxy for putting together that awesome list for the Caves and Cliffs update. But yes, did anyone else have any final words before we wrap things up here?
Good to be back on the podcast.
Yeah.
Have it back. Gamer. Yes.
Ow, stop.
Alrighty, thank you everyone. My name is mcpeachpies, joined by the glorious people that I just mentioned there. Thanks to our patrons, and thanks to everyone in this community for making these podcasts possible. Be sure to leave a comment down below if you have any questions or anything you want to mention about the Caves and Cliffs update, and be sure to drop into our Discord server to have a chat with us about the coming features and everything at Minecraft Live. We will catch you in the next podcast, and see you around.
Bye.
Bye.